In this tutorial, we're going to go over how to do some selective toning as well as how to do some special edits using presets and profiles. So first we're looking here at Mr. Modi. We're doing a cat nap on the couch and we're playing with unusual perspectives. So another way to look at the cat is through his sleeping arm, which is kind of fun. So I just want to review first a couple things just about cropping and about light adjustments and exposure adjustments. And remember that your Lightroom may look a little different than mine depending on if you're working on your phone, if you're working on the web version, or if you're using Classic or using Lightroom CC. So you might have to dig a little bit. All the tools are there, they just are in a slightly different place. So remember, as we're doing our edits, we are always going to change our light to these specifications. We are going to do our highlights down so that any overexposure is adjusted. Take our shadows up so any underexposure is also adjusted. Then you can take your whites a little brighter and your blacks nice and dark to help balance out your picture. Then slide the exposure lighter or darker depending on what you like. So if it feels a little dingy, you can just lighten that exposure a touch. If you feel like areas are getting too bright, just kind of pull some things back and maybe deepen those highlights. You can see if you go highlights too bright, you are going to lose information, and so decide, do you want texture, do you not want texture? Second thing, on our cropping, you are going to adjust for a specific size if you want. Let's say my size was 2x3, then I'm going to do that. And I can bring this in, I can pull up and make it a vertical cropping instead. This photo lends itself actually to a nice 1x1, but you're going to decide what works the best for you or what does the assignment call for. If you find you have a picture that is slightly tilted, one thing I would recommend is going to the corner and using that rotate to adjust it in case things are at a slight slant to make sure it is straight and even. All right, I like that. I'm going to go back over here. Okay, so we're going to play with some selective toning and with black and white. I'm going to use this image to show you black and white. I'm going to use a different image to show you selective coloring. Now the reason I'm going to do that is this image doesn't have a whole lot of color. I have a little bit around the nose, but not enough to really make it exciting. So I'll switch to another image. If you're going to be editing in black and white, you have some options. At the top, I just have my black and white button here. You might have it next to your color tab. So you just need to go in and find out which one it is. Sometimes you'll see a little circle like this that has color, and then next to it, you'll see black and white. It is in there somewhere, you just have to dig a little bit and find it. So look for black and white. You can also notice how under my profile, I had the option of color or monochrome. That's another way to find it, and notice how my black and white button highlights as soon as I mouse over that. So if I go to color, I see my color presets. If I go to monochrome, my black and white shows up. So I'm going to monochrome, going to black and white, but there's some great stuff in here. So in your black and white mixer, it might look like this as well. The computer still knows that there was color. So remember how my nose had a little bit of pink? As I slide this red, the nose is going to change. Maybe that was orange. As I slide this, anything that had an orange tint to it is going to adjust. So the computer knows where the color was. So sometimes it's really nice to adjust what we call these color channels to see how does that affect the black and white. Does it make certain areas lighter? Does it make certain areas darker? So even in black and white, I would absolutely recommend that you adjust these color channels, pull the sliders to get better contrast within your black and white image. So that's option one for doing black and white. All right. Let's jump over to something else where I have a distinct color like this yellow. And now I'm going to show you how to do selective coloring on just one color. So I'm actually going to leave it in color. I'm not going to switch to black and white, but I'm going to go into my color settings and I'm going to play with the saturation. Remember, you have the hue, which lets me change the yellow into a different tone. Actually, that's kind of cool. That little streak of green, that was awesome. Or I can change this orange of the eraser in the background into something else. So that's just going to change the hue itself. But I want to, look at that green streak, I'm going to keep that. I want just this yellow to show up. So I'm going to go into saturation. And I'm going to change the saturation by taking all the other colors out. So if I take the red all the way down and kind of click on all my other colors, except for this yellow, and I might even keep the green, we'll see. Oh, there's Mr. Modi himself. Hi, buddy. When I take all the other colors down, all I'm left with is that single color. And you can see there's a little bit of yellow there too, so I might decide whether or not to take that green in or take it out. That's for you to play with. I can also boost this stronger just in the saturation so that you can see the yellow really stand out. So that is another option for you within the black and white. Anywhere where there's yellow, you're going to see that. So even this yellow glow inside here will show up. I'll show you how to adjust that later, but right now you're just trying to get a single color to show up and have everything else black and white. So that is your second option. So those are black and white and selective color. I'm going to do another short, quick video to show you where your presets and your profiles are.